Buick has announced that it is bringing back the Electra nameplate to America. Unfortunately, the way they're doing it, it's looking like a Kia. Welcome back to All Cars, y'all. I am John, and I'm kind of excited about this. I have very strongly mixed feelings about it. I'll get to what we do know about the specs of the Electra here in a minute, but let's kind of roll back the clock and take a look at how we got to here. There could have been a ton of little updates about this, but I've kind of been watching it, and the Electra was the top of the line. It was the flagship for Buick for 31 years, something like that, over, I believe it was 6 different generations. It was a big, huge, comfortable cruiser. They were lovely. I've had a chance to ride in a couple over my life, and they were wonderful. And it's pretty neat that Buick noticed they had the Electra nameplate out there when the world is moving to electrification. So this is pretty cool of them. And they went out and they trademarked the Electra E1 through E9. And so I like this a lot. And what we know is that back in the summer of 2022, Buick came out and announced that they were going to move their whole brand to electrified vehicles by the end of the decade. Now, Buick is increasingly being driven by China. It's really the most successful market for it. While sales in America really aren't bad, they're not standout. And so China is kind of starting to really drive the bus, as it were. And also, I want to mention here that Cadillac is being pushed steadily upward, certainly with the Lyriq and with the Celeste that's out there. I see Cadillac being pushed up, and that leaves a space for Buick to separate itself a little bit more into a more luxury, a more premium market. But I don't see this car as being the answer. So I'm a little confused what they're trying to do with the brand. But back in the summer, they said they were moving to electrification. They debuted a concept car called the Electra X, which unveiled what their future styling direction was really going to look like. And then some months later, the Chinese media began to get some spy shots of what appeared to be a Buick electric vehicle out there running around. So they have unveiled the Electra in China so we could see what it looks like, and they have now verified that this is going to be coming to America. Great. Being the E5, it's somewhere in the middle of the range, and well, I'm ambivalent about it, if I'm being honest with you. The styling is not distinctive, like I said. I think it looks a little bit like a Kia. It's got relatively boring, derivative rear end. We don't have any pictures of what the interior is going to look like. However, it is easy to assume that since it is being built on the Ultima platform, and since the Chevy Equinox EV has been unveiled, we know they're going to be sharing that same size market platform. Now, we can piece together a couple of pieces of information to see kind of what the stats are going to be here on the Electra. The first is that we know it's going to be somewhere around 240 horsepower. That's all we know. We don't know for front-wheel drive versus all-wheel drive options. We don't know anything about that, any of the trim lines. But we do know it's probably going to be about 240 horsepower, which is competitive. And then from the Equinox EV press releases, we know that those battery options range between about 250 and 300 miles of range being available. So we can kind of expect the Buick to fall in the middle. I don't know how I feel about this. I love the nameplate coming back. I am very bullish on the Ultima platform. I've already done a video where I think that the Equinox EV, if it's done right, and it's as good as they say with 150 kilowatt charger on it and everything else they're promising on it for about $30,000. I think it's going to be a runaway hit for them. And I think this Buick has a chance to do that too, but I'm really ambivalent about the style. Taking the Electra nameplate and applying it to a compact crossover, I get that brands change, but this one really, I don't know, this one strikes a sour note for me, as it were. And I hope they move the interior upscale. I hope they invest in the interior, but we don't know what that's going to look like at this moment. So I expect competitive, if not healthy, performance. I expect honestly very good range out of it. If they're really going to be able to offer that 250 to 300 mile range, I expect this to be a good performer on that. It certainly looks like it's got all the EV chops to be aerodynamic, but overall it just looks like a very generic entry at a time when Buick, I think, had a chance to really jump out there and stand out. Love the nameplate. I'm just a little disappointed about how this is all being pulled together. As I know more, I'll share it with you, but let me know your thoughts below, guys. Thanks for being here.